Yeah, that's not the same. It's definitely versus.
Didn't even get to cross.
Hey guys, March Madness is back. It's ZaiZoe here. Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to click that subscribe button just down there in the bottom. Yep, that's it. You found it. And this is my Town Hall 11 MiniMax that is basically a Town Hall 6. And that is my vision that I had back in 2014. We will go into it a little bit. I do think, as you can see the side by side there, they're pretty close. I do think that there definitely is a difference between engineering bases and mini-maxing bases. I find, now it's just me, but I find there's multiple bases. You have the defenseless one cannon bases, you have mini-maxing, you have engineered, you have rushed, and you have just regular maxed bases or maxing bases. I define the line with mini-maxing and engineering because to me, engineering is way too close to a 0.5 base. And that was also part of my idea back in 2014. I'd like to think that I'm the creator and founder of MiniMaxing. We'll get into that. You guys can make your own decisions on what you think. Back in 2014, I was, as some know, the world record holding Town Hall 7 and the first to get to 4K. I managed to also have my Town Hall 7 during a reset pop onto a top 200, but that didn't really count because it was just during a reset the way they used to do it. Really, I did stick the top 50 of Canada for pretty much a year, even making it to 17th. But I knew that I had hit a wall with my Town Hall 7 and that just I never would get as high as I wanted to. And being Canada 17's pretty good. I mean, how much higher do you want to possibly get than that? I don't know. Number one, just because it was so simple for me. It was just something that I did. So there was a base called Kessa, which was a Town Hall 10, and he was a champs, but he was a defenseless champs. He had one cannon. I loved his base. I knew with his troops, he was at 3,600 cups. I was at 4K. I knew with his troops, I could go all the way. I could get to World 1 easily with those troops. And so that's where I started to form the idea. I do not like copying other people. I do not like being a follower. I like to be a leader. So I didn't want to make a base like Kessa's, and that's where the idea of I had a spare Town Hall 6 hanging by. Why not make it like Kessa's base, but just max everything on it? And that's where the defining line for Town Hall 7s also kicked in. I don't want Town Hall 7s doing this because I do not want to pull my members away from Savage 7. I want higher, or lower members, I should say, to come to the clan. And so that's where the Town Hall 7 and Town Hall 6 line was defined for me, and that's why it was defined. Basically, I wanted to keep the 7s in Town Hall 7 clan, and anybody that was less than that wanted to do some mini-maxing, come on by and do it. I thought it was going to be quick and easy. I basically thought I would have this base maxed out as a Town Hall 10 within the year, just specifically sticking to an OP strat. It turned out it's taken way longer than that, and at a certain stage I did rush my base way early in anticipation that within a year to 2 years from my rushing Town Hall 11 that I knew that Supercell was going to implement something into the game, blocking mini-maxing from being made anymore. Now, there were some people that were complaining about war, and also with mini-maxing, I have to say that there was also the characteristics. Of course, you had to be between Town Hall 2 and Town Hall 6 as a layout. The base had to be maxed, preferably all the defense. Some people didn't like maxing their walls. A couple really good mini-maxes out there that I can think of. G-Shark off the top of my head. He never did want to max his walls. He just kept them as low level as possible. So people did it differently and uniquely, but the main characteristic was you had to have all traps and all Teslas set on your base for the Town Hall level that you're at. So if you're at Town Hall 8, you better have all Teslas and traps for an 8. They better be maxed before you go to 9, so on and so forth. And that was kind of the characteristics between Town Hall 2, Town Hall 6, all Teslas, all traps, maxed. Add your OP stuff that you need. Don't add much more, obviously, especially in defense, but you're going to have to add a couple of extra barracks, a couple of extra camps. You're going to have to add a couple extra storages just so that you can keep maxing your troops, because things are getting pretty costly for me now near that 10 million mark. So if you can't hold 10 million storage, obviously you can't as a 9, so that is why you have to keep adding. I still haven't added everything on my base for mines, pumps, stuff like that. I don't even have any DE drills. I've never had any Dark Elixir drills. That's kind of been my little thing as well. It's not a stipulation, just something I do. Now, admittingly, MiniMaxes did mess with more wars, I should say, a little bit, but not as much as people really said. I mean, let's just do a quick top 5 comparison. If your clan had a Town Hall 10 or a Town Hall 11 max up top, and the other clan that you drew had one Town Hall 10 max up top, and the next base was a 10.5 or a engineered base, as you say, and then it continued down with the rest on an even keel, there is no reason that you should lose that war. At worst, you should tie that war. Your number 1 should definitely be able to take the number 2, and then your number 1 comes down to number 1 versus number 1. Who's going to win there? It always came down to that in the mini-maxing and engineering wars. It very often wasn't decided by any of the other bases other than who we had placed up top at all times. So when people were complaining that they were losing to these mini-maxing clans, it was their own fault. No offense to some people, but they just sucked. Plus, like I said, reverse it in the opposite spectrum. Reverse it as you're a clan with a Town Hall 10 up top, and your next base is a Town Hall 9, and then you have like a Minimax engineered, maybe 10.5 there somewhere, something like that, and your war draw has 2 max 10s up top. Well, that's not a very fair draw. That's what's going to happen is you're going to need to make sure that number 1 and 2. Now, number 1 should still be able to take 1 and 2, but at least you have an engineered base that can cover your ass. And that really is what it was. It was the engineered bases were covering the asses for the unfair war draws. And then you had these people that just sucked at wars, and they were complaining too much. It was top versus top. That's what the wars were coming down to when it was these mini-maxing wars or engineering wars, or even, like I said, I mean, you can do the comparisons and you can figure it out that it really wasn't much of an advantage. It was a slight advantage, I will admit. I will say maybe a 1% advantage on the fact that if your number 1 failed to do good enough on their number 1, you had somebody else that could cover your ass and possibly beat their number 1 versus your number 1 percentage. And that's where the little bit of a percentage came in, I think, as the advantage. There wasn't much. You can't tell me that most people couldn't 3-star this base that I'm going to draw. Town Hall 9s can 3-star me. I weigh more than an 8, so I draw between 9s and rush 10s. I can be 3-starred every time. I am an automatic disadvantage in that way. I now have to do a minimum 3-star attack, because if I don't, I've cost my clan a star. So I now have to match what I'm going to have to put out. So that automatically makes me a 3-star base. Now I'm probably going to have to put out a minimum 5 to 6 stars. Really, 6 stars. 5 stars doesn't win wars when you have 2 hits. Sorry, you need to be putting out 3-star attacks every time. But again, as I've tried to tell people so much over the years, mini-maxing, as it later got changed to engineering, which I hate. It's not engineering. Engineering is like a 0.5 base. Don't even give them a special name, really. Mini-maxing was built for the sole purpose of pushing. That's all I wanted to do with these accounts. I wanted to push them. I went to a bunch of the top clans, a bunch of top players. Back in the early days when we built up mini-maxing and we started this clan, it was so hard to describe to people what my end dream was, what my goal was, and this is my goal. A nice little max base like this, everything maxed on it, able to take whoever can hit me. Do got to do my heroes a little bit, but I'll blame those on the fact that, like I said, I anticipated that there was going to be a blockage from doing these bases anymore, so I had rushed from Town Hall 9 to Town Hall 11 pretty much when 11s first came out. Terrible mistake. Been slowly making up for it ever since. As you can see, my Warden is finally maxed now. I do have a 20 king, 23 queen. That's not very impressive, but everything else, defense, walls, everything is getting up there and maxed. Slowly doing my troops here. I think miners are down right now, going to 5, so again, like I said, it's been exactly what I wanted to be. I love this little base. It's fun. It gives a little bit of shock in global. And, you know, maybe the fact that they did nerf it a bit, I'm flopped on it. I mean, I really would have liked to have gone Town Hall 12. I definitely wouldn't go Town Hall 12. But now on the bright side, I am much more rare of a base, and it does give the shock factor. I'm called a hacker daily, so definitely not hacks, just old school bases, did it long ago. And that is it for me in this video. Thank you everyone for watching. I will see you all tomorrow. I've been thinking about doing some sort of, I don't know, podcast clash weekend type thing, but we'll see how that goes. Anyways, I love you guys. Peace.